Welcome to Law Lines Behind the Lawyer. I'm David Schnerman. Today, I'm meeting with Ralph Siciliano. Ralph is a partner in Tannenbaum Halpern and the head of the firm's government and regulatory investigations practice. Ralph is going to share with us what he does both inside and outside the office. Ralph, can you tell us a little bit about you and your practice?
Sure. My day-to-day practice is primarily giving advice on securities regulations, which means a trader at a hedge fund will call us and ask about a trade he's contemplating doing, asking about information he might have received that seems questionable and can he trade now that he has it, and in some cases some obscure regulatory or regulation that we have to look into. I enjoy that very much. It's helping clients sort of do the work they do. The other part of my practice is where the client has received a subpoena from the government, and that becomes more serious for the client, more stressful. They usually don't know if they are under investigation or somebody else is, and they just want information. As we probe into a matter of what the government's asking about, we can make a determination of whether there might be some exposure. And you plan for that. And so that's a more stressful part, a more challenging part, but again, something that I find interesting.
Who are your typical clients?
The typical client is a fund manager that has usually started his own fund, left one of the big firms. He's raised some money, maybe $100, $200 million, and is trading as the manager of the fund, or as a manager of managed accounts. So they're advising an account in which there's just one individual who's trading. That's our typical client.
And on the flip side, is it corporations, Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies, or somebody affected in terms of an insider trading, or what is the subpoena generally about?
We do represent large corporations, but our primary base is an entrepreneurial base.
Right.
And the other aspect of what I do, which is different from what I've explained, is where somebody is contemplating leaving a firm and moving to another firm. There might be issues going on at the firm that they're uncomfortable with, so we kind of guide them through the separation process. We might be advising a compliance officer at a broker-dealer or a management investment advisor who's finding that his bosses are not following their advice.
Right. And
we guide them through that process. As you may know, compliance officers are in the crosshairs of the SEC as sort of gateways. So that's sort of an employment element of what I do.
Gotcha. So just flipping it a little bit is, what is your story? Who are you as a person? How did you get involved in this, but who are you?
Who am I? Well, I work for a private firm. I've been with the firm 30 years, and that's sort of an important part of my life. Sure. Because I came there right from the SEC. I feel a tremendous emotional commitment to the firm and the people I'm working with, and I'm there a lot, so that's a big part of my life. I'm trying to not be there 7 days a week. I'm trying to figure out what to do on weekends that is not work-related, even if I have nothing to do, because sometimes you go into the office by default. So I'm actually starting to read a book on a Sunday afternoon.
Fantastic.
A little strange, because you're just sitting there reading a book. You feel like you should be doing something more, but I think that's important.
Any good books recently?
Well, I have to say the one I'm reading right now is Flash Boys, which is work-related.
Okay.
Fair
enough. You got to slowly move on there.
That's right. Although I'm also reading, I really like political biographies, and I'm reading about Lyndon Johnson. Robert Caro's book, which is really fascinating. And now Johnson is back in the news because of the movie Selma, where there's a controversy over how much Johnson really was committed to the civil rights movement. And I ski. I love to ski, and we have a group that goes skiing once a year out west. We're going to Big Sky this year,
Fantastic.
where I've never been. It's a little harder to get to than like Vail or Aspen. But it's great. It's with a group of friends. We rent a house, and it's fun.
You ever read the book The Power Broker on Robert Moses?
Oh, that was Caro, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I have not read it. I've read so much
17
about
hours
it.
on Audible, so.
Oh, really?
I
Yeah, big
recommend,
commitment.
it's a big commitment.
Yeah, but he is a great writer. He is a very exciting writer. You know, it's not just facts. So I'm enjoying it. I don't think I've read any of his other books.
When you look to the state of the legal market today, students, when law schools are declined 30% from 2010. What is your thoughts for somebody who's graduating now, or somebody thinking of enter law school, in terms of giving them advice or guidance?
I think it's challenging, obviously.
But have we been saying this for 30 years? And that's my other question. Every
No.
5 years, do we have the same conversation?
Maybe every 10 years.
Okay.
I mean, the market was pretty hot. In my experience, the legal market underwent a dramatic change in '08, and I think it's still adjusting. But it's an exciting field, and of course, as fewer people go to law school, the more in demand lawyers will be. We're in a trough, but it is an interesting field. I think people starting out should go to the government if they at all can, because it's a great learning ground. It sort of avoids you getting into the competitive race at law firms that I think maybe can be restricting starting out. There's a district attorney's office, there's the SEC, now the Consumer Financial Board, and there are a lot of offices around the country. So if you're young and starting out, you should think about moving to the regional office in Washington State and sort of getting your feet wet there.
Great. What keeps you up at night?
Giving the right advice to clients. It's always a challenge, and you have a tremendous responsibility. So I have to admit that that's a challenge. And sometimes you just feel good about what you've done. Sometimes you second guess yourself. But mistakes happen. I like to think that we always come out on the right way. But I care a lot about clients. And in my business, their livelihood is on the line. And I sympathize and empathize with that. And that's probably why it keeps me up when things are getting pretty intense.
Well, Ralph, it really does come across that you're sincere, and I appreciate you sharing a little bit about yourself and what you do. And thank you for being on today. And
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for watching Behind the Lawyer.